Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Text number 34. Na bharati me anga mrishopalakshate na vaikvachin me manaso mrishagatihi na me hrishikani patayanta satpathe yan me hridau kantha yavata dhrito hari. No, never. Bharati statements. Me, mine. Anga, O Narada. Mrisha, untruth. Upalakshyate, prove to be. Na, never. Why, certainly. Kvachit, at any time. Me, mine. Manasaha, of the mind. Mrisha, untruth. Gatihi, progress. Na, nor. Me, mine. Rishikani, senses. Patanti, degrades. Asatpathe, in temporary matter. Yat, because. Me, mine. Hrida, heart. Out kanthayavata, by great earnestness. Dhritaha, caught hold of. Harihi, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O Narada, because I have caught hold of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Hari with great zeal, whatever I say has never proved to have been false, nor is the progress of my mind ever deterred, nor are my senses ever degraded by temporary attachment to matter. Purport. Lord Brahma is the original speaker of Vedic wisdom to Narada, and Narada is the distributor of transcendental knowledge all over the world through his various disciples like Vyasadeva and others. The followers of Vedic wisdom accept the statements of Brahmaji as gospel truth, and transcendental knowledge is thus being distributed all over the world by the process of disciplic succession from time immemorial since the beginning of the creation. Lord Brahma is the perfect, liberated living being within the material world, and any sincere student of transcendental knowledge must accept the words and statements of Brahmaji as infallible. The Vedic knowledge is infallible because it comes down directly from the Supreme Lord unto the heart of Brahma, and since he is the most perfect living being, Brahmaji is always correct to the letter. And this is because Lord Brahma is a great devotee of the Lord who has earnestly accepted the lotus feet of the Lord as the supreme truth. In the Brahma Samhita, which is compiled by Brahmaji, he repeats the aphorism, Govindam Adi Purusham Tam Aham Bhajami. I am a worshipper of the original personality of Godhead, Govinda, the primeval Lord. So whatever he says, whatever he thinks, and whatever he does, normally in his mood, are to be accepted as truth because of his direct and very intimate connection with Govinda, the primeval Lord. Sri Govinda, who pleasingly accepts the loving transcendental service of his devotees, gives all protection to the words and actions of his devotees. The Lord declares in the Bhagavad Gita 9.31, Kaunteya pratijanihi. O son of Kunti, please declare it. The Lord asks Arjuna to declare. And why? Because sometimes the declaration of Govinda himself may seem contradictory to mundane creatures, but the mundaner will never find any contradiction in the words of the Lord's devotees. The devotees are specially protected by the Lord so that they may remain infallible. Therefore, the process of devotional service always begins in the service of the devotee who appears in disciplic succession. The devotees are always liberated, but that does not mean that they are impersonal. The Lord is a person eternally, and the devotee of the Lord is also a person eternally. Because the devotee has his sense organs even at the liberated stage, he is therefore a person always. And because the devotee's service is accepted by the Lord in full reciprocation, the Lord is also a person in his complete spiritual embodiment. The devotee's senses, being engaged in the service of the Lord, never go astray under the attraction of false material enjoyment. The plans of the devotee never go in vain, and all this is due to the faithful attachment of the devotee for the service of the Lord. This is the standard of perfection and liberation. Anyone, beginning from Brahmaji down to the human being, is at once put on the path of liberation simply by his attachment in great earnestness for the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna, the Primeval Lord. The Lord affirms this in the Bhagavad Gita 14.26. Mam chayo vyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samitatyaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Anyone, therefore, who is earnestly serious in heart and soul about being in intimate touch with the personality of Godhead in the relationship of transcendental loving service will always be infallible in words and action. The reason is that the Supreme Lord is absolute truth, and anything earnestly dovetailed with the absolute truth attains the same transcendental quality. On the other hand, any amount of mental speculation on the strength of material science and knowledge without any bona fide touch with the absolute truth is sure to be a mundane untruth and failure, simply due to not being in touch with the absolute truth. Such godless, unfaithful words and actions, however materially enriched, are never to be trusted. That is the purport of this important verse. A grain of devotion is more valuable than tons of faithlessness. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmanitamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Translation once again. O Narada, because I have caught hold of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, with great zeal, whatever I say has never proved to have been false, nor is the progress of my mind ever deterred, nor are my senses ever degraded by temporary attachment to matter. What a powerful verse and more powerful purport of Srila Prabhupada. When I was reading the purport just now, I was thinking that to really understand this verse, especially the purport, we need to hear it many, many, many times. In fact, read it many, many times. So basically, Srila Prabhupada is explaining in his purport how we can realize ourselves. It's only by pure devotional service that we can become self-realized. Now, Lord Brahma is the greatest of all living entities. And from this verse and the purport, we can see his devotion to Krishna. He has caught hold of Supreme Lord's lotus feet, not casually touched. Yeah, right? What do we do when we have to bow down to someone, We casually do that, touch their feet like elders or whatever may be. We just do it casually, no. He got hold of Lord Krishna's lotus feet, not just like that, but with great zeal, which means with great enthusiasm that he wanted to do, not that he was doing it because he's supposed to do or, he has to do, no. Because he wanted to catch hold of Lord's lotus feet, and that is with great enthusiasm. And his service, his devotional service to Lord Krishna, was with eagerness. There was earnestness in that. Rupa Goswami tells us, Utsaha Nischaya Dhairyat, right? We need utsaha, enthusiasm. So the mood of devotion is very important. Yes, we want to become self-realized. We want to realize who we really are. Theoretically, we've read in the Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, but practically to realize the mode of devotion has to be right. That's very, very important. You see, Krishna, he sees our enthusiasm, he sees our sincerity, he sees our mood of eagerness. How eager are we to perform that devotional service sincerely? Then Krishna will help from within. Excuse me, then he will help us to purify our heart. And once we are on this devotional path with earnestness, eagerness, enthusiasm, with the right mood, then we'll become more eager. You see? So our endeavor plus Krishna's mercy will increase our eagerness to serve the Lord. What is bhakti? What is devotional service? It is pure. It should be pure and performed with eagerness. And that eagerness can be developed. It's not something you turn on a switch and wow, now I've become eager to serve Krishna now. When we associate with pure devotees, we learn from them, we serve them. That association will bring about that mood of eagerness in us. Then we will also learn from them how to cultivate this mood. This mood is not easy to cultivate. To really be eager in worshipping the Lord, we have to be unfailing in all circumstances. Srila Prabhupada always says that bhakti means there is no material entanglement. We are free from material entanglement. We are satisfied in serving, in engaging devotional service to the Lord. And that devotion does not change in any circumstance. It shouldn't be, oh, today I am unwell, or I have this misery in my life, oh, I've lost my job, or whatever circumstance it may be, there is no way that we give up devotional service. When the senses are engaged in Krishna's service, then gradually there will be purification, and then automatically we will not be attracted to material sense enjoyment. But that requires to be attached to lotus feet of Krishna faithfully. You see? Not casually, faithfully. Then we will be on the path of liberation. You see? All the statements that Srila Prabhupada has given in his purport are very, very powerful. And if anyone is serious and is earnestly trying with heart and soul, not just the senses, the body, but even the heart and soul, trying to worship the Supreme Lord, want to be in intimate touch with the Lord. And that is possible only when we build up a relationship with Krishna, you see? A transcendental loving relationship with Him. Then, as per this verse and purport, then the word spoken will be infallible. Will always be infallible in words, just like Brahmaji. Because he caught hold of Lord Krishna's lotus feet, served him with eagerness, in that mood of being very, very sincere and earnest in his worship. That's why he always is infallible in his words. So bhakti is not casual, it's a very serious business. And Srila Prabhupada towards the end of the purport, he says, a grain of devotion is more valuable than tons of faithlessness. How powerful. Just a grain of devotion. So faith is faith is important in anything that we do. Even building a relationship with the spouse and the children or relatives or whoever it may be, whatever we do, whatever we want to learn, there has to be basic faith. And Lord Brahma, he has perfect knowledge of the Vedas. How? Because Krishna spoke the Vedas to him in the heart. Right? We've learned this in Srimad Bhagavatam. So he's perfect as far as knowledge of Vedas are concerned, and he's the original speaker of Vedic wisdom. He gave it to Narad Muni gave it to Vyasadev. You see, this is how it has come down in strict disciplic succession. So we accept the words of Acharyas. We receive the knowledge in parampara, like we have learned in the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna tells Arjuna in chapter 4, Evam Parampara Praptam, that we need to receive the spiritual science in strict disciplic succession. And because this knowledge was given to Brahma within the heart, Brahma is a great devotee of the Supreme Lord. So whatever he says is accepted as truth. Very important to hear spiritual knowledge through parampara, because the authenticity of the data is maintained in parampara. There is no change. And when one performs devotional service to Krishna, Krishna declares it boldly, tells Arjuna, declare it boldly, that my devotee will never perish. He always protects his devotees. And as per this powerful purport of Srila Prabhupada, he says that bhakti or devotional service begins with service to the devotees. You see? Because when we serve the devotees, we will become humble. We will become tolerant. These are required to be on the spiritual path. Very, very important. And Brahmaji says, my progress of mind never deterred. You see, he was never discouraged. There was never a doubt in his mind that what he is doing is right or wrong. And how does one reach that stage? Constant practice. And constant practice with determination. And when we have strong association of devotees, when we read with the devotees, when we hear with the devotees, when we perform devotional service with the devotees, then we become, our determination reaches another level. And for that, the very first step is to chant attentively. We need to chant the holy names of the Lord with attention. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. You see, and when we chant, that is also doing service, that is devotional service. And that attitude of service will help us. Then, as Brahmaji says, my senses never degraded. You see, why? Because he was completely surrendered to the Lord. And he has a devotional attitude. You see? And he's following the parampara. Just like he explained the Vedic knowledge to Vyasadev, Vyasadev took guidance from his guru Narad Muni. Only then understand the spiritual knowledge. So, to become self-realized, to understand who we really are, we definitely need guidance. We need to approach a bona fide spiritual master. Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. That Krishna himself is telling Arjuna in chapter 4 that approach a bona fide spiritual master, inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized soul will impart knowledge into you because he has seen the truth. So the bona fide acharya in the parampara is already self-realized. And because he is self-realized, he can help us become self-realized, you see. He will give us knowledge, he will give us training, which is very essential because we need to qualify ourselves, you see. And to be able to qualify, we need to have service attitude, you see. And chanting the holy names is service, so that is also service attitude. Now, just our own endeavor will not help us. We definitely need the mercy of Guru and Krishna. And how do we get their mercy? When they are satisfied with our service. Whatever seva we are doing, if they are pleased, then we get their mercy. So Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam are giving us a very simple process. How to become self-realized and go back to the spiritual world. Abhyas, need to practice. Serve. That devotional service needs to be performed steadily. No break. See, in proper mood, no break. And not expect quick results. Like instant coffee or 2-minute noodles, no. Not expect quick results. Why? Because we are conditioned since so many lifetimes and conditioned to act in the mode of passion. So we want quick results, but it doesn't work like that. Can we learn a language instantly? No, there are no shortcuts. We have to follow the process. And to have controlled mind and senses, we need to understand that there are certain steps to be followed. And without controlling mind and senses, how can we qualify ourselves? So point number 1, we need to practice for a long time. Sometimes people tell me, oh, I've been chanting for so many months and nothing is happening. Some will say, oh, I've been chanting and following this process for so many years. Nothing is happening. That means it's time to think about it. Why? We need to practice for a long time. Srila Prabhupada says, just give this one lifetime to Krishna. We have gone through so many births, and so many times we've taken birth and died and birth and death. Now that we have this human life, now that we have access to the spiritual science, now that we have this process of devotional service, why not give this life to Krishna? What will be the result? Permanent happiness. Point number 2, there should be no break. Oh, it's a weekend. I need to enjoy, so I don't want to chant. I don't want to do anything. I just want to enjoy my senses. No break. Because when we take a break, then the mind takes over. And the mind says, look, you felt so much happiness during the weekend. You didn't have to do anything, no chanting, no reading, no going to the temple, no associating with devotees. Look how relaxing it was. This is how the mind will start talking to us. Because when we take a break, we become weak in bhakti. Very important point. It makes us weaker. Then we get more lazy and then we take longer breaks. Then we say, well, weekend was good. Let me take Friday, Saturday, Sunday off from bhakti. And then it'll be, let me take Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday off from bhakti. And this is how the mind will condition us. No, we need to do bhakti every day. We need to train the mind to be serious in bhakti yoga. Just like those who want to participate in Olympics, what do? They practice every day, 8 to 10 hours every day. Whether take any activity, whether it is sports, music, swimming, whatever, they practice every day. Otherwise, what will be the result? Setback. And the same happens even in bhakti. So if we really want to realize ourselves, we need to practice every day. Point number 3, proper mood is needed. Which means we need to check our moods. Today, what is my mood? Am I doing bhakti mechanically? You see, we are not machines. We are spirit soul that's active. So we cannot operate like a machine. So we need to check our mood. We need to check, am I in the right frame of mind while I'm chanting? The mood should be, I am the servant of the Supreme Lord. That is my position. And the practice of bhakti is not a ritual. I need to invest in bhakti. So be conscious of the mood. So what are the 3 things? Practice for a long time, do not take a break, and have the right mood to perform devotional service. Then we will be able to remember what is the ultimate goal of our life. And if our goal is clear and we are trying to approach the goal sincerely, then we'll achieve it. You see? But there needs to be focus. We need to be focused that I want to be successful in bhakti. I want to reach my goal. First of all, I need to understand my goal. Rupa Goswami, in Nectar of Devotion, he talks about sadhana, practice. He says, engage the senses in serving Krishna. So that sadhana will become sadhana only if there is sadhya bhav, there is a consciousness of that goal. You see? So we need to be conscious of what exactly do we want from this life. So if our goal is to break the cycle of birth and death and go back to the spiritual world, then we work towards that goal. And when we work sincerely, we'll achieve it. But if I say, I don't know where I want to go, I don't know where I want to reach, like for instance, I pick up the car keys and I tell my husband I'm going. And if he asks me where and I say I don't know, naturally he will think I'm foolish. I need to know where I want to go. But if I don't know where I want to go, then I'll just randomly be driving here, there, everywhere and not reach anywhere. You see? So we need to know where do we want to go. And to be able to do that, like Lord Brahma is saying and Srila Prabhupada is explaining in the purport, we need to remove those material desires. Because material desires, they disturb our mind and then we are not peaceful. So the reason for so many material desires is that there are a lot of anarthas in the heart. Anartha means unwanted things in the heart. And they are the enemies sitting in the heart, like lust, anger, greed, pride, envy, etc. So when the anarthas, unwanted things are in the heart, then we feel disturbed. And unfortunately, most people do not know that these enemies are in the heart. And so they don't know the process, how to remove them from the heart. Excuse me. You see? So to really achieve prema for the Lord, to have Krishna prema develop in the heart, all these unwanted things need to come out. There was a great devotee of Krishna, Manohar Das Babaji. He lived in Vrindavan. And Radharani had come to him and told him that this Govind Kund is the right place for you to do bhajan. So he would sit there at Govind Kund and he would do bhajan. And Radharani told him that if you do bhajan here in Govind Kund, you'll be successful. So he used to stay there and he would chant all day. He would chant many rounds every day of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So this Babaji, because of his pure chanting, his mind became very clear and he saw his previous 6 lives. Who he was and what he did in the past 6 lives. Would we want to know? Probably not. But he, being a pure devotee, he was able to see that. And what did he see? He remembered performing bhakti yoga, doing devotional service, doing sadhana in all his past 6 lives. And the problem was, he was not successful. So then, with great determination, he made up his mind, this life I want to be successful in bhakti. So he would eat very little, he hardly slept, and he only chanted all day. So there were some devotees sitting nearby, and they would also, chant, but casually, because he's chanting, so they also, were chanting. And then it was winter time. All of us who have been to Vrindavan in winter, we know it is very cold. And because it was so cold, the devotees around him, they went to sleep at night. They used to sleep at night. And they had many blankets, covering themselves nicely so that they don't feel the cold and they are nice and warm. But this Babaji, he would just sit there and chant. Even though it was so cold, he was chanting. Now, because it was so cold, he was trembling. And we have noticed that, I don't know if you all have noticed that when we feel very cold and we are trembling, then, the teeth, they chatter like that, and then we are not able to pronounce properly, and that is what was happening. He was having difficulty to chant clearly because of that trembling. And so he talked to his body and he said, "You body, you're not helping me. You are making it difficult for me to chant the holy names properly." So he jumped in the Govind Kund. Now imagine winter time in Vrindavan, when the body is trembling outside, imagine the temperature in that water in Govind Kund. It was freezing in there. And he stood in the Govind Kund and he started chanting, continued chanting. Now the body was afraid. If I do not cooperate, I will have to stay in this cold water. This is how his mind was talking. And when the other devotees, they woke up and they saw, they said, "What are you doing? Why are you bathing in the middle of the night? It's so cold." What did Babaji say? "I'm punishing my body because body is not cooperating." This is determination, no matter what. So, how does the body get controlled? By the mind. So when the mind is under control, the body will come under control. Now that doesn't mean we should do that. I'm not saying that we need to do that. We go into freezing water and stand there and chant. No. Because we are not at that pure stage. At least I'm talking about myself. But when we want to achieve the goal in life, we want to go back to the spiritual world, not come back in this cycle of birth and death, That means we need to control our mind and body. Once the mind is under control, the senses will come under control and the body will automatically be under control. So for us, at the stage of bhakti that we are in, what do? We just have the proper mood of chanting. At least our minimum 16 rounds can be done in the proper mood. And when we do this with great determination, Krishna will help us. You know, there was this lady devotee in Sweden, and she would go every day to distribute books, give Bhagavad Gita to others, Srimad Bhagavatam, so that they can get this knowledge and they can become self-realized. That was her goal. So she would go every day, and for 1 month, she was not able to distribute even one book. And on the last day of the month, she was just standing there with one Bhagavad Gita in hand, and she was crying. Why was she crying? Because the other devotees were able to distribute so many books. But here she had that great determination, but not a single book was distributed. No one was taking the book from her. Then, just one person took that one Bhagavad Gita from her. And that one Bhagavad Gita changed one life. One day she was in the temple, and one gentleman walks in and comes and bow down to her to touch her feet, to thank her for the Bhagavad Gita she had given him. So she said, "Why are you thanking me?" He said, "Well, that day I saw you standing in the corner with one book in hand, and you were crying, and I felt very sad, so I took that book from you. I saw your determination. Krishna saw her determination, and Krishna helped her by sending someone to take that book." And he said, "You know what? That book changed my life." So that one book distributed with great determination changed the life of that one person. Krishna knows, he's within our heart. He can see how sincere we are. He can see our determination for performing bhakti. He can understand, are we having an ultimate goal in our life? And we are so fortunate. We have these books of Srila Prabhupada coming directly in a strict disciplic succession. We know the process. You see? Now, for instance, Thursday, 13th of March, is such an auspicious day for us. It's the appearance day of Lord Krishna as Lord Gauranga, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It's Gaura Purnima. This is another opportunity for us to pray to Lord Gauranga to please help us in our goal. Please help us so we can perform bhakti with great determination. Today is another auspicious day of disappearance day of Madhavendra Puri, who his pure love for Krishna is very uncommon. If he would see the dark rain cloud, that would remind him of Krishna's color, and he would become unconscious. That was the level of purity of his love for Krishna. He's always soaked in love for Krishna. Always. It was as if like he was intoxicated with love for Krishna. How did that happen? Because he was completely absorbed in separation from Krishna. He was always thinking, oh, Krishna is so far away. When will I see Krishna? How can I reach Krishna? That was his mood. And his body was totally imbued with divine love for Krishna. The scriptures tell us that his food, what was his food? He would drink the juice of mellows of love of Krishna. And because of that purity, it is said that his body became a place of pastimes of Krishna. What an elevated state of consciousness. What an elevated state of pure love for Krishna. That his whole body became like a place of pastimes, which means a holy place, a tirtha. And what was his worshipable deity? Gopalji. Now, of course, the same deity is worshipped in Rajasthan and Nathdwar, and it's worshipped by the followers of Vallabhacharya, still being worshipped. That was the deity he worshipped when he was present on this earthly planet. Of course, he had many associates and many disciples like Sri Advaita Acharya, Sri Nityanand Prabhu, Sri Ishvara Puri, who is the spiritual master of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Gauranga, and many others. So today is the auspicious day of the disappearance day of Madhavendra Puri. And we can pray to him that please help us, guide us, so that we can also realize ourselves, so that we can also develop that divine love for the Supreme Lord. Madhavendra Puri ki jai. So the verse once again, O Narada, because I have caught hold of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Hari with great zeal, whatever I say has never proved to have been false, nor is the progress of my mind ever deterred, nor are my senses ever degraded by temporary attachment to matter. Thank you. Hare Krishna.